After being divorced for quite a few years, I decided in 2010 it was time to put myself back out there. And yes, I did meet my husband Michael on a dating app. But in 2023, I'm not so sure that's the route I would have chosen to go. So if you think you're ready to get back into the dating scene, but the thought of using a dating app feels paralyzing and overwhelming, or maybe you've already tried it, something I want you to think about. Before you start this process, have you done the work on the front end to ensure your success? Building dating confidence and defining your values, embracing self-love are not steps to be missed, according to this week's guest. This drill sergeant of dating has helped many women of all ages find lasting love and companionship through her dating DNA framework. Health, wellness, career, relationships, and everything in between. We're removing the taboo from what really matters in midlife. I'm your host, Michelle Folan, and this is Asking for a Friend. Our guest on the show today is Martha Bodyfelt. She is a dating and relationship coach for grown-ass women who want love but don't like dating and would rather have a root canal without anesthetic than get out and date again. Her Ready for Love program is all about building a foundation of confidence so women can learn to date successfully. Welcome to Asking for a Friend, Martha Bodyfelt.
Yay, thank you. Thank you so much for having me. I'm really happy to be here to share my story and what I do with your incredible audience.
I'm really glad we were able to make this happen because the first time you and I spoke, I was like, I got to get her on the show. This will be really fun and very enlightening. You've got so much to share, but I would rather you start with where you're from and how you got to where you are today.
Who doesn't like a good origin story? I'm originally from a small town in southwest Wyoming. If you think of like a mix of Cops and Yellowstone and Breaking Bad and just put it all in a bow, that is the town that I came from.
Oh, God.
Exactly. Don't get too big for your britches, just that sensibility. I knew I wanted to get the hell out of there as quickly as I could. Went to college, traveled around, traveled a little bit, hitchhiked through Europe, met what I like to call my starter husband, fell in love, but then I decided to join the Army because I knew I wanted to be like a Jason Bourne kind of situation. That did not happen. But what ended up happening in my 20s was I actually had a spinal injury in the Army, so got out of the Army, pivoted a career, and then I actually got a divorce from that starter husband.
How old were you about that time?
Oh my God, I was just like 30. That was my 30th birthday present, all of that.
Oh, Lord.
All in a bow. What I decided to do, like any single gal, was let me go travel the world. When I come back, all my problems will have changed. They didn't. They were still there. Still issues with dating, still issues with trying to find myself and cast away the shame as a divorcee and things along the lines of that. But curiously, what ended up happening during that time is I had a few friends who were a bit older than me who were going through divorce. And they were asking, hey, do you have any advice? That happened so much that I actually was inspired to become a divorce coach. I started life actually in my 30s and my career as a divorce coach.
Oh, I don't think we even talked about that.
Yeah, I got to surprise my host every once in a while. Was a divorce coach for a while, but it's so interesting because what happened over my years as a divorce coach is the incredible women that I was working with, they didn't need help with their divorce. They didn't need help talking to lawyers or anything because these women, much like your audience, are just badasses that they have their corporate stuff figured out. They have their professional stuff. They have their purpose. They have all of that. But what they had issues with was, Martha, I have not dated since the Clinton administration. I have never been online for an online date. Is that what I'm supposed to do? What am I supposed to say? Do I sleep with the guy? I haven't slept with somebody for 25 years. My husband's the only person I slept with. How do I do this? It just had organically happened that the divorce coaching had by default become the dating coaching. And during that span of a couple years as well, I actually met my current husband and fell in love again. And it just seemed this very beautiful, organic merging of the women who I worked with who were always kind of 40 and better, 40, 50, 60, wanting to learn how to date again. And some of them not having dated for decades. That is what really drove me to develop the dating DNA framework that I work with now. I guess that was a very Reader's Digest version of my origin story. That's what happened, I guess, was just a natural progression.
Well, dating can seem really complicated right now. We came out of COVID. God knows none of us wanted to be dating during COVID. We're past that now.
Mm-hmm.
But now that we're on the other side of that, I got some questions from some of our listeners. I like to find out what they want to know, what they want me to talk about. One of the first questions I got was, are there any good men left over the age of 60? I was cracking up. I said, oh, I'm going to have to ask Martha that one.
I love this question. Right now, I would say about 99% of my clientele is women. I get asked this all the time, that are there any good men who are not my son's age or not my grandson's age? The answer to that, ladies, is yes. The reason I know there are good men over the age of 60 is because before I was a dating coach for women, I actually coached men over 50.
You did.
That's another boom, second surprise, bearing the lead here. I have met them. They are out there and they are warm and incredible, and they want to be with women who are their age. Yeah, you're going to have some of the guys who want to date the super young, young enough to be their granddaughter, but not all of them. Most of them want to date women who are age aligned so they can, go on beautiful trips together, who don't have kids at home anymore so they can go and enjoy these wonderful experiences together. But the thing is, a lot of those men are not in the same spaces as the women that I work with who are 50 and better, 40, 50, 60 and beyond. They're not online. You're not going to find those incredible men on online dating apps. They don't want to do that. They feel shy. They feel self-conscious. And you're not going to find them in the hiking or running club either. That is not how men of a certain age are going to congregate. All of that is to say, ladies, you are going to find great men who are older. You might just actually have to look in a different space instead, but they're out there.
Back to the dating app thing. I did meet my husband on Match.
Great.
But that was in 2011.
Before it became weird. I had met a partner, not my current husband, but I had a wonderful partner that I met on Match a little while ago. I love talking about dating apps. This is one of my favorite things to talk about. Bring it on, Michelle.
Okay, because Susan, another listener, she said, I called it dumpster diving for dating. She said she just found that a lot of men lie about their age.
They do. Here's the thing with Bumble is if you're the type of woman who likes to make the first move or whatnot, and you have success with Bumble, go have fun and live your life. I have found, though, especially with my clients as well as my girlfriends who are dating, Bumble is not ideal because what I don't like about it is it forces a lot of the emotional labor and emotional burden on women. That you are the one who has to be the seeker. You are the one who has to be the pursuer. And like in the natural order of men and women, that's not what we do. We are supposed to sit back in our feminine energy. Yes, we signal. Yes, we express, you're cute. I'm single. I would love for you to take me for coffee or a drink. But the problem with Bumble that I really don't like is it causes women to have to do all the work, and we all have to do the work anyway. What I love to say about online dating is much like investing. Michelle, here's a question. You work hard. You are this corporate badass who's got all these different things that you're doing. Would you put all your hard-earned money just solely in cryptocurrency?
No.
No, hell no. Like the answer to that should be hell no. Why, as women of a certain age, why are we putting all our expectations on dating, all our chance at finding a love again, into just this one tiny thing, this one small aspect of dating, which is online dating? To me, it's the same thing. That if you want to go and you want to get out there and you're 40, 50, 60 beyond, don't just invest all of it online dating. No. You can have it as maybe 5% of the dating pie, but it shouldn't be your entire one. When I hear women saying There's no good men out there. I haven't met anybody. What I love to do, especially when my clients complain about this, is say, well, how have you tried to meet men in the past 6 months? And everything they say is, I signed up for this dating app and it didn't work. Then I deleted it and then I uploaded it 2 months later. But then during that meantime, I was doing this one and that one. Okay, well, how are you looking at it? Oh, when I was on the toilet. I always like to say, you cannot find the love of your life while swiping like right and left, taking a shit. That is not mindful dating. Or when you're waiting for, your coffee that you forgot to drink and now you're like reheating it and it's 3 p.m. and it's going to be nasty, but you need the caffeine anyway. Online dating, if you are feeling very frustrated about it, don't do it, because there's literally dozens and dozens of other ways to meet and attract incredible men.
That's probably really good advice. There was, was it called It's Just Lunch? Do you remember that one? Is that still around?
I think it is, because every time when you're on a flight and they have the magazine of, do they still have Sky Mall? I'm not sure, but you would open the magazine, the Destinations magazine, and there's always that advertisement for It's Just Lunch. I think it's still a thing, but I think they've rebranded as IJL Enterprises. I fly way too much.
That was more, you would sign up and they would make a match for you.
Matchmaking service, yep.
But then my issue with Match.com was it was like going on Amazon and typing in black shoes. It was just too much. It was overwhelming. It was too time consuming. I mean, I could just use it as a second job.
Absolutely.
Was going through the possible matches on Match. That's my experience.
Funny that you should mention that, because I do have a client right now. She's busy. She's doing all the things. She's in her 50s. And that's actually a concern that she's expressed with me. She says, Martha, I feel like online dating is like having a second job. And I said, well, do you want a second job? Because a lot of people like to have a second job for the extra income. She said, well, no. And I said, okay, well then what needs to change in order for you to actually enjoy dating? She says, well, I don't know, because I don't like it. Well, gee, what are you doing? Well, I'm going online. Okay. Well, what are other ways that maybe you can be meeting great men? And then just like the blank stare.
Yeah. Well, because I don't think women know where.
Yeah.
In my experience, my husband now, he lived 30 seconds away from me, but our paths would probably have never crossed. What are the biggest challenges women are facing besides online dating, and how are they finding those men?
I think the best thing to do is, and what I love to teach my clients and walk them through, is finding the way to meet great men in real life and get off the screen. Because you're going to need to meet somebody in real life anyway, online or not. May as well just delete the online part if you want to, and then go out there. And something that I have a lot of clients say is, well, I've joined the hiking club. I've joined a book club. There's no men there. And it's like, well, no shit, Sherlock. Because really start to think. You have to start thinking, put yourself, as disgusting as it is, in the mind frame of a man. And in the mind frame of where would they want to go? They want to go places where they can relax and have a good time and just feel like they can be themselves. Where are those places? Steakhouses, golf ranges, tennis courts, any kind of bourbon tasting.
I was just going to say bourbon tasting.
Yeah, but here's the thing. Here's a caveat that I give, because I have a client who decided to join a Civil War historical walks club. I'm in Virginia. And I said, well, I've been working with her for a year. And I said, I had no idea that you were a fan of any Civil War stuff. She's like, well, I'm not. But I felt like that there would be good men there, but I'm bored to tears and they're all 80 years old. What I like to remind women is that don't do activities that you don't absolutely enjoy. You don't have to 100% hate them. Do something that at least you're a little bit interested in. How could you not be interested in bourbon or learning how cigars are hand rolled? Or if you're down for it, if you really want to go to a place where the percentage of men is so much higher, go to a gun show.
Yeah.
Or go to a conference, go to a technology conference, go to a car show. Who doesn't like cars? I mean, the list is just endless. And the only thing that really is stopping us from expanding our search is our own minds and our own mental biases that we're going through every day.
It's also confidence. You talk a lot about confidence.
Yes.
In your program. We may be dealing with some rejection. Coming out of divorce, particularly, there's a lot that we sometimes have to unpack before we're ready to be there. How do you get someone in the right space mentally to get out there?
Absolutely. And I so love that you address this, because one of the things within my 4-month Ready for Love group coaching program is at least 2 of those months are specifically dedicated to building up your confidence. It's so funny you should mention that, because the last unit that we had literally last week in the class was resilience after rejection. Because one of the biggest struggles that the women that I work with deal with, accomplished women, women who've already been through hell and back and they want to get out there, is there's that fear of, what if I get rejected again and I get hurt? I just can't recover from that. To which I want to go share in Moonstruck and be like, snap out of it. She just kind of slaps him. Yeah. That's literally what I want to do. But because I work virtually, that doesn't happen. But what I love to offer my clients, and I would love to offer your listeners as well, is accept that you're going to get rejected. That's all. And guess what? You're going to reject people along the way as well. Get used to having people say no to you and practice that. If you're on the metro, say, hey, can I have $1? And someone says, no, go away. Or if you're at Trader Joe's or Whole Foods and say, hey, can I have this bottle of wine half off? And somebody says no. You actually literally have to build that muscle of people saying no to you, because people saying no to you in non-romantic settings actually does the same thing for you chemically and your reaction to that if people are saying no to you in non-romantic settings. Because the fear and the hurt that we feel from rejection is just a biological evolutionary trick that back in the day when we were all in tribal kind of situations and whatnot, you had to act a certain way or else you would have been ostracized from the community. Our minds and our DNA programmed us to not want that and to feel bad if we had that no, because that would keep us acting correctly and so we wouldn't get kicked out of the tribe. All of that is to say is we have to understand rejection. You feel bad about it because your body is going through a withdrawal, and in MRIs, your body is actually experiencing the same pain of rejection as you would if you stubbed your foot or if you broke your arm. We recognize that there's nothing wrong with us for feeling bad, but there's a biological reason why we feel bad about it. Understanding that, if we look at it from a scientist perspective, we're good. Then get used to having people say no to you. Ask people absurd stuff. Even ask your friends just really stupid shit and have them say no and share with them. If you want, hey, I have to get used to people saying no to me. And that's actually going to be the equivalent of running on a treadmill before you run on a marathon.
Okay.
Get used to that, and then also get used to saying no to other people, because along the road too, you have rejected people. Understanding that it is going to be a two-way street, and then understanding that in order to find that love that you deserve and that love that you want to experience, you're going to have to get used to the rejection. Much like when we were all learning how to ride a bicycle, we didn't ride a bicycle perfectly, but you accepted, I'm going to fall and I'm going to get back up. Rejection's the same thing. You can't be like the boy in the bubble when you're going out there dating at this point in your life. You have to get out there. You don't have to absolutely love being told no, but you can't let it devastate you. Don't give somebody that you barely even know that much power. Come on. Getting just used to being said no to and practicing that, I think, is the best starting point to build up that resilience from rejection when you're dating again.
2 things to say. Number 1, the rejection piece. This is how I would handle that is, well, if he's not interested in me, it wasn't meant to be. Mm-hmm. Why would I want to be with someone that doesn't really want to be with me or isn't interested?
Absolutely.
That's number 1. Number 2, I did have an opportunity when I was dating that I had to cut someone loose. Mm-hmm. Having been in management and had to fire people, I just kind of had the mentality of, I'm just firing somebody. I know that sounds terrible, but I don't particularly like it.
Yeah.
When I have to tell someone I'm not interested. So I just had in my mind, well, it's just like firing someone, because it's not easy being on that side of things. I mean, I have a heart. It's hard, but it's just part of the reality.
And then just understanding that it's not about you. You can't personalize it. Why would you personalize somebody that you hardly even know, that maybe you went on a mediocre date with, who ate with his mouth open? Why are you feeling rejected from that? Why are you feeling rejected? Maybe you went on a date with somebody, a couple dates, and you slept with them. but you're feeling rejected. The guy didn't even go down on you. Why are you feeling super rejected that you're going to put your self-esteem and your self-worth in the decision of somebody who doesn't even know you? And so that's the thing as well that I have found, that the clients that I work with who definitely struggle with rejection and they're just terrified to put themselves out there because they don't want to be rejected, that is a lot of limiting belief and self-worth work that we actually have to do. Understanding that if you're operating at a deficit in your self-esteem, I would actually suggest doing that work to get that self-worth, which can be very hard, especially after a divorce and whatnot. But until you build that self-worth up, until you build that confidence up, so like the glass is full, maybe don't go out and date right away. Because at that point, if you're terrified, if you feel like you're going to curl up into a hole, then let's pause the dating. Let's work on you. Let's work on building your confidence. Let's work on building your self-concept and your self-worth so we can get that built up. So then you can go ahead and be okay with the rejection. But if you are so terrified of getting rejected, don't date right now and do that work to build up the confidence, which is why part of the Ready for Love program is so strictly devoted to the confidence level, because you have to have that. Because yeah, it's going to be a shit show out there. If you're confident, you can have fun with that. You can lean into that. You can roll with that. If you're not, you're going to go back into your hole and just give up on love, which nobody wants to do, especially if you're a romantic at heart and you want love. You don't want to give up on that. So let's build that self-esteem first so you can go out there and say no as long as you want and be told no and feel okay with that.
Well, Peg Rupert, who I did put you in contact with, she coaches women to thrive post-divorce. And she even admits that she started dating too soon and was dating men that were very similar to her ex-husband. Yeah. She had to put on the brakes, back up, and do that work on herself. One thing that she said that with her coaching too was self-love. Yeah. It's not just about the confidence piece. It's really about you've got to learn to love yourself and find why you are worthy of being happy again. Yeah. Can you talk about that a little bit?
Absolutely, because what I see happening is the women who I coach, they may have dated, they may have been on a couple of dates, or they may have even been in kind of a serious relationship that didn't go well after their divorce or after a long-term relationship. And they come to me and they feel even more shattered, and they feel like that pain is even greater than the pain of that divorce. I can certainly relate to that because I was in God knows how many crazy relationships that I should not have been in right after my divorce. And I was dating from what I call it like dating at a deficit, that you're expecting somebody to fill this wound or to fill this hole. Don't put that on them. That's incredibly unfair to that person who's trying to date or maybe, just trying to have fun. Don't put that on them. They are not responsible for making you feel better. They are not responsible for making you feel confident. That's your responsibility. That's not their responsibility to fix you for that. This is one of the reasons that in my Ready for Love program, one of the rules that I actually have is in the 4 months that you're going through this program with me, you don't get a date. You have to make the pledge to get off all the apps, to not be talking to any men, to say no if a man asks you out or any of that. Because what you need to do in order to date successfully at this point in our lives is you have to focus on yourself and you have to work on yourself. You have to identify what are your limiting beliefs? What are the negative emotions that are holding you down? What are the things and maybe the lies that you've been operating on that you need to rewrite? Those are the things that you need to do. What are the actual values and standards you need to have at this point in your life in order to date successfully? That should be very, very different than the ones that you had when you were in your 20s. And when I work with the women, they said, I hadn't even thought about this. Well, yeah, that's why we need to think about it now, because we can't date like we're 20 or 25 anymore. That model's not going to work for us. And what I see, and I'm the one, admittedly, this happened to me as well, that when I started to date after my divorce, I just went boom, right into how I was dating when I was 22. No wonder why it was a disaster. So let's take a minute. Let's take a beat. Let's figure out what we need, where we are, what makes us tick, how we even want to be treated, how we want to feel. How does our body want to respond when we're dating at a more evolved age? Because if you don't do that work, I guarantee you your relationships are going to be a shit show. And you are going to feel like you're ready to give up on love, and you're going to feel lonely, and you're going to feel like it's too late for you. It's not too late for you, but it is absolutely necessary to do that work of self-worth and confidence and building yourself up, and not expecting somebody to magically take away that pain. Like, there's no Cinderella story here, everybody. Disney lied to us. We have to do the work ourselves. And then that is what's going to help us attract and keep and experience incredible love.
Women of a certain age, as you say, we've done some great stuff.
Mm-hmm.
We have a lot of experience. We have so much to share.
Oh, yeah.
We should feel confident getting out there and sharing that with other people. I think getting a dating coach makes so much sense to me to help you sort through all this and help you vet your feelings and what values are really important to you going forward. Because you made a great point. What I value now is very different from what I valued when I was first married.
And it should be.
Yeah. How does your coaching work? Do you do one-on-one and group, or is it all one-on-one?
I offer a couple of different options. My trademark course is something that is called Ready for Love. And this is an intense, incredible supportive program that is for 4 months. It is a small group, so I never take more than 8 women at a time. We go through a whole 4-month course together where we go from getting clarity and doing a dating detox and getting really grounded on what is no longer working for me and what no longer serves me. And then we go to the dating confidence and courage part, where we build up our self-worth. You learn how to get completely fearless dating at this age. And then we go to dating connection, where women then learn the customized, incredible way to actually date with no online dating in a way that makes them feel good, confident, and guaranteed to find and attract incredible men that are aligned with where they are now. During that course, in addition to the weekly group trainings, I offer one-on-one sessions. My clients will also get one-on-one sessions with me. I bring in incredible guest speakers. It's just an incredible course. At the end of those 4 months, women know how to date successfully for their age and learn how to do it incredibly. And what I love is one of the cohorts that ended in December, I have been getting text messages from these women that are like, I just went on this incredible date with this guy. I don't know where it's going to end up, but I'm okay either way. Another one, hey, I'm in this bar by myself. I'm talking to all these really cute guys. Who knows what's going to happen, but I just feel really good and really sexy and really confident. And for me, as a coach, when I have women saying that, I know that the sky is the limit for them. That is what happens with my signature Ready for Love course. But in addition to that, I will do intensive one-on-one coachings if women feel like they want to have a more private, customized experience. And so I'll do one-on-ones with that. In addition to that, I'm actually launching what I like to call a mini offer. And so this is actually going to start at the beginning of May, and I'm calling it my Femme Fatale Boot Camp. If there are women who want to work with me and they want to embrace that sexy confidence in a very intensive format, so they're going to be ready to date and have a great time come summer, then I would definitely invite them to reach out to me to learn more details about that. 3 different ways to work with me depending on what your needs are, depending on your schedule. The signature Ready for Love 4-month course, the signature very fun Femme Fatale Boot Camp, which is only 4 weeks, and then the more long-standing private one-on-one coaching.
Wow, that's great. You've really thought this through.
I'm a professional. This is my work.
Well, I mean, you've had some work experience in your past that has helped you organize this.
Exactly. Like, tell me your dating coach was in the Army without telling me your dating coach was in the Army. Definitely. There is no hand holding. There is a lot of tough love, a lot of structure, a lot of ass kicking, but that's what my clients need, and that's what they deserve, and that's what's going to get them the results.
I love it. You crack me up. I've really enjoyed this conversation, by the way.
Likewise.
This is great. Have you gotten anybody married off yet?
There has not been any married off quite yet, but I have had a couple of long-term partnerships.
Okay.
That they are in. It's interesting because quite a few of the women that I work with, by quite a few, I mean probably a good 85% of them, don't want to be married again, but they do want to be in just a wonderful long-term partnership. I do have quite a few of those.
Isn't that, well, I wouldn't say that's interesting. I don't think I'm all that surprised that women are pretty confident in their own skin and don't feel defined by a marriage, that they're really happy being in a partnership. That's really cool.
I think also, Michelle, because the women I work with are usually top performing professionals, and they may have been with men who were not making as much as them and took their money and just all that drama, or they just had a bit of a legal mess. And so they say, I don't want that anymore. I want someone who is coming into the relationship from an equal standpoint so we can just enjoy each other's time, enjoy each other's company, and not have to have that financial codependence. And I get it. We as women, we've worked for decades building our own careers. Let's keep that independent if we want. But then I have clients who do want to get married again. It is just really valuing and prioritizing what you want. Not what society says, not what your well-meaning but very misguided family might say, but just getting very confident, maybe for the first time in your life, figuring out what you want to do, not as a people pleaser, but as putting yourself first and figuring out what you want to do.
Great. I'm thinking of some people that I think need to come get your coaching.
Yeah, we'll talk offline. I don't know if we want to give them a shout out on the air, but no, definitely we'll talk offline, and I'm happy to have a coffee chat with them.
No, that's great. Martha, how can everyone find you who's listening today?
I love the Instagram, as the kids say. For any of you lovely ladies that are as obsessed with Instagram and looking at all the pastries and looking at all the travel and looking at all the fun, incredible resources like Michelle has for us, definitely find me on Instagram. I'm just at Martha Bodyfelt. And I would invite you guys to actually join my private Facebook group. I have a private exclusive Facebook group. It's completely free. It is called Empowered Dating for Women. And on that group, we get free training. We have free content. Sometimes I'll have guest speakers. And that is just a really great way to connect with other incredible women who are in the same boat as you. It's a community and connection as you start to write your own next great love story. Now, I know a lot of women are like, well, I'm not on Facebook. I don't like Facebook. Forget the rest of the trashy Facebook. Sign up for the Empowered Dating for Women. It'll be in the show notes. I'd love to have you guys there because that's where you're going to get daily Martha, daily training all the time. Those would be, I think, the two best ways to connect and to stay in touch. And I'd also invite any of the women to book a free coffee chat with me. That's just an opportunity for us to talk over a cup of coffee or a glass of wine virtually. I'd love to hear what you're doing, what you're looking forward to in your life, and if dating coaching can be of service to you and how you and I could work together. Those three avenues, I'd love to have any of your listeners join me there.
All right, I'll put that in the show notes. And Martha Bodyfelt, thank you for being here today.
Thank you for having me. Everybody have a good rest of your week.
Follow Asking for a Friend on social media outlets and provide a review and share this show wherever you get your podcasts. Reviews and sharing help us grow.